Hey everyone, good morning or afternoon or whatever time you may be watching this today. Um, First, I just want to start off and say thank you to everybody who's been watching my videos. I really appreciate the support that you're giving me. A lot of people are so terrified of sharing their mental health journey, but for me, it's been super. I don't even know. There's no words for how amazing it's actually been. I haven't had a single person say anything negative about me sharing my journey. And I hope that to the people who are maybe, hiding from people in fear of what they might think, or, maybe even in denial about their mental health or whatever it may be. I really hope that encourages you to share, because I think you'll find you have a lot more support than you really realize. And that's why I really want to do these videos too. I want to show people that, but also I feel like, I know that unless we're talking about mental health, nothing is ever going to change. There's always going to be a stigma. And that's one thing I really actually want to do a video on, a stigma, because I think a lot of people don't know exactly what stigma is or the actual impact that stigma has on mental health. So that will be coming up. But anyways, for today is day 4 of my 5 days of self-care tips. Obviously, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop at 5 days. I just plan on doing some other videos. Like I said, something about stigma, something about explaining kind of what depression is. Because as I mentioned, anybody dealing with depression or anxiety, when you don't understand what's going on in here, it's really easy to start telling yourself that you're crazy, or that you can control it when, like, on your own, when maybe you can't. So I think understanding the actual chemistry behind this kind of stuff is really, really, really important for people's recovery and for just the way you think about yourself. So those are things I kind of want to do, and I'll definitely continue to touch on self-care. But for today, day 4, we're talking about physical activity and exercise. So this is one thing that with anxiety and depression is super, super challenging. It's so easy with depression, like I've mentioned before, to not want to get out of bed. And anxiety, there's usually 2 extremes. Either you get up in the morning and you don't think that you can do anything. You might end up binge watching Netflix all day. You might end up sleeping. You might go into your kitchen and know there's all these dirty dishes and be like, yeah, no, that's not happening today. So getting physical can be very, very difficult. And other days with anxiety, you might have these like real highs where it's like, I can't stop moving. Like, I need to clean everything. Like, I can't stop moving or my brain won't stop. So those days obviously are the really good days to get physically active. But it's really important to try and do physical activity even on the opposite days. It's been proven that physical activity has a major impact when it comes to anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorders. So we're talking as little guys of 30 minutes 3 to 5 times a week. Obviously you can do more than 30. It's even been shown that just 10 to 15 minutes can make a difference. So what does physical activity actually do for you? So physical activity releases endorphins in your brain. Not only that, it actually can pose as a distraction from your thoughts. So when you're out doing something physical and, even if you're just walking around the neighborhood or whatever, you're typically focusing on other things, your surroundings, noises you're hearing, things you're seeing. And so it takes you out of your own thoughts, which is so, so important in both anxiety and depression, because it's easy for your thoughts to get carried away on you. So when I'm talking about the endorphins and stuff, I'm talking about those things we talked about before. Serotonin. One thing I haven't talked a lot about is norepinephrine, and I would love to talk about that more when we talk about what causes anxiety and depression. But these are all things that help to make you feel happy. They are your mood regulators. That increases in your brain. And dopamine, which is considered like a cannabinoid, natural cannabinoid type neurotransmitter in your brain, it creates that high, but it's healthy. It's not drug induced, it's natural. And that happens when you're doing physical activity. There's so much more than you really realize that goes on in your body when you're doing physical. It's not just about toning your muscles. So anyways, it's really, really, really important to do. And like I said, it is incredibly difficult. It's been a major struggle in my mental health to get out and get physical. The one thing that I found earlier this year when we were getting ready and like preparing our garden and stuff, I found it so much easier because it was something I enjoyed. And that's something that's super, super important when you're getting started, is make sure it's something you enjoy. And I'm going to go into a little how to get started segment. But right now I just want to tell you kind of how I got started personally. So obviously, like in the spring, gardening and stuff was what was going on, right? But then summer tapers in and your plants are all planted, everything's thriving, besides coming out and watering and weeding a couple of times, a day, or weeding a couple of times every couple weeks or whatever it may be. It didn't take as much of my time. I found it a lot harder to come out in the backyard and do things physical. I kind of just wanted to sit here and make it kind of my sanctuary, enjoy it. And so I started to get less physical again. So I decided, I started having anxiety almost about leaving the house. My home became too much of a sanctuary for me. And I mean, obviously it's a really good thing to have that. But I started having anxiety about going to see my friends, and it wasn't that I didn't love them. Clearly, I wanted to see them, but for whatever reason, it just sparked anxiety anytime I thought about leaving my sanctuary. So I finally said to myself, okay, it's time to do something. I don't have anxiety when I go to see my family, so I asked my dad to take me camping, and we decided to go to an area near Kamloops called Wells Gray Provincial Park. And up there's a whole bunch of waterfalls and stuff, and I know obviously with the gardening and stuff, I really connected with nature, so I figured connecting with nature would be something that I would really enjoy. And so I said, let's go hiking, let's go see these waterfalls, let's do this and that and the other thing. So anyways, we did. And I mean, we hiked over 30 kilometers probably within the 3 days that we spent there, which was super amazing. And let me tell you, I came home so rejuvenated that I couldn't even begin to explain. I was exhausted for 3 days after, because that was not something that I was used to. And again, it made it kind of easy when I got home to get back in my own head again, because I had done all this physical activity, and then you kind of get this little bit of a crash because you stop. But what I can say about that, when I came home, I had so much more courage to go out and do things physical. I started thinking about, wow, I enjoyed that so much. What can I do that's easy, that I can do this on my own? Or what can I do that, I know my friends enjoy to do, or whatever it may be. And I decided that I was going to get some kayaks. So I started thinking about it. We have tons of lakes in this area. They're all very accessible. I only have a car here. My husband has his truck up north. But he really likes outdoor things. So even if he's home, these are things that we could do together. So I bought these kayaks. Well, actually, I got them as a gift. My mom bought them for me for an early Christmas present because I expressed to her how beneficial I thought these would be. But I find water very therapeutic. Like being up at the lake and just sitting at the beach or whatever, I find that very therapeutic. So I figured, why not be out on the water? And so for me, that's what I did. My kayaks arrived today. I am so excited. I have a friend coming up early September. We're going to find some places to go. I've already touched base with a few other friends. Obviously, kayaking is great for social distancing. So really, really cool tip. I got these ones that are inflatable. So I have shoulder issues, chronic pain. So the inflatable ones are so much lighter and so much easier to pack around. Obviously, like I said, I only have my car, so I don't have to worry about, like loading and unloading it off of the roof. I can just inflate it when I get to wherever I need to go. So super exciting. But anyways, guys, if I can do it, you can do it. Just find things that you enjoy. And like I said, like gardening can be considered physical activity. Even going out and washing your car, just make it a plan. Because if you don't plan it and you don't say, I'm going to do this, you're going to put it off. And you're going to put it off. You just need to do it. And so for me, that's why I had my dad take me camping. Because I knew that if I had somebody else saying, hey, we're going to do this, that I would do it. But if I just sat at home and said, you know what, I'm going to go for a walk today. For 3 days, I've been saying, I'm going to walk up to the mailbox today. And I haven't, because I haven't made it a priority. I haven't had that extra encouragement. And obviously walking to the mailbox for me may not be something that I necessarily enjoy. But yeah, so do little things, even walking the block. Like I said, 10 to 15 minutes can be enough to get started. Obviously, repetition is better. The more you do it, the more you stick with it, the better it's going to be. So how do you get started? So identify what you enjoy doing and find ways to be physically active with the things that you enjoy. Because you're not going to go for a jog if you hate running. You're not going to go to the gym if you hate lifting weights. Set reasonable goals. Don't say I'm going to go for, don't do necessarily what I did. I used to be very physically active prior to my anxiety, depression. So doing the 30 kilometers in 3 days wasn't too big of a deal for me. But don't necessarily set that as your goal. Even if you say, you know what, I'm going to go with my husband and walk the block, or hey, when my kids get home from their grandparents, we're going to play basketball outside, or whatever. Just do things you enjoy, set reasonable goals. Don't make it overwhelming for yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself with the thought of physical activity. Don't think of it as a chore. Think of it as something you're doing because it's healthy for you, because it's going to help you feel better. Because it will. I guarantee it. This is clinically proven that physical activity makes a difference in a majority, I would say, of mental health disorders. Recognize your barriers. So recognize the things that might stop you from being physically active, and try to either find ways past that. So like, for instance, if you're self-conscious, maybe deciding to go for, not that pools are necessarily open right now, but maybe deciding to go for a swim in a bathing suit might not be the best idea. Because you're probably going to be like, yeah, no, I really don't want to do that today. So recognize any barriers and find ways around them. And obviously prepare for setbacks and obstacles. So, like, you might have this plan to go be active, and you wake up in the morning and you're having a really awful day. Maybe you did not sleep well, or maybe you've got something that has set off your anxiety, or you're just not having a good day and getting out of bed is just not an option for you. It's going to happen, and it's okay. I mean, no, staying in bed all day isn't necessarily healthy. It's not a coping strategy. But maybe you can practice other coping strategies other than physical activity during the day that don't necessarily take you out of your home, out of your safe space, out of your sanctuary. There will be setbacks, but don't let them discourage you, because that's where you're going to lose. Don't say, I can't do this. Never say, I can't do this, because you can. You're going to have days where it's going to be a heck of a lot harder, but you can always do it. And I don't want you to forget that. You are fully capable. You are as capable as somebody without a mental health disorder. It's your thoughts that are getting in your way. It's that chemical imbalance that is getting in your way. But you are capable, and there are ways through it. So anyways, guys, this video is actually way longer than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be one of my shortest. So I'm going to end it here. But like I said, don't ever give up on yourself. Stay positive the best that you can. Believe in yourself, because you have it in you. Practice, practice, practice your self-care skills. Tomorrow we're going to get into other techniques like meditation and breathing and that kind of stuff. Those are things that are really, really, really good tools to have at home, because you can do them on the fly. You don't really have to think about what you're doing to do them. They're easy. So stay tuned for tomorrow. I'm going to get back to planning my next few videos. Have a beautiful day, and I hope you can find some happiness today.